Welcome back. Let's get to the dailies now. And joining us on the Thursday edition is Dr. Ambrose Iguke, Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analyst, Enugu Chapter. He joins us virtually from Enugu State. Mr. Iguke, thank you for coming on the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with this Nigeria this morning, and of course it leads with one of the biggest stories from yesterday. That's the decoration of the new acting Inspector General of Police. Terrorism, banditry are big headache, Tinubu tells Disu, and President decorates new IGP, sets security agenda as leadership test begins. I was shocked by appointment, of course, also AIG Disu, Acting Inspector General of Police, let's put that in proper context, was also, quite glad about the president talking about his record, saying that it means that the president has watched his career trajectory, from the time that he was in Lagos. Talk to us about some of your expectations for the new AIG.
For the new IG, first of all, congratulations to him, Acting Inspector General of Police. I also known about his trajectory for a while, right from the time he was the head of the RRS in Lagos, and then later he became the head of the IRT, Inspector General of Police IRT team. So he has a brilliant career in the police force. So congratulations to him. The expectations. I expect that he talks less, that he doesn't follow the pattern of, let's use the language of talking too much, or if we use the downtown language, gra-gra, of everybody that has been, most people that have been employed or appointed as Inspector General of Police. They make all kinds of statements at the beginning. They sound tough. Bandits, no more tinted permits, no more VIP escorts, no more police must do this, must do that, do welfare. At the end of the day, nothing happens. So the first expectation I expect of him is the welfare of the police. He should look at critically the welfare of the police, especially total implementation of the Police Act of 2020, ensuring that the police earn the same thing as their counterparts in the other security agencies. Police is the least paid. I don't know why that it is. After many years of service, 35 years of service, some people are living with 1.2 million, 1.5 million as severance package. That is pitiful. That is very, very inhumane. There was a time we had some engagement with the police just last month, and the kind of things we hear is so pathetic. I mean, if your brother or your friend or your relative is a member of the police force, I think begin to pity them. The equivalent of a captain in the police force is earning the captain is earning like 12 million severance, while the police is earning like 1.8 million at the same rank. The same thing his counterparts in the DSS or the other agencies. So the first thing Inspector General IGP Disu should look into is the welfare of the police, and then the issues around the police insurance, issues around their pension. There's a bill lying with the president that has not been assented to. The National Assembly has passed it since last year. The new IG should ensure that receives accelerated, attention for the president to sign it into law, so that the welfare of the police can be improved. For now, the welfare of the police is so bad. The issue of barracks should also be looked into. A lot of police officers receive signals, are transferred. They don't have anywhere to stay. Go to force headquarters in different states. Go and see how police officers that were transferred, stay in, some of them stay in completed buildings, some of them stay in shanties. There are no accommodation for them. How do you expect a man with that kind of condition to work well? So sometimes when we talk about police did this, did that, we also need to find out what are the root cause analysis. And some of the root cause analysis are these things I've said. There are no barracks anymore to accommodate them, so many things. So the IG of police should start with that. and not start with what his predecessors have been doing, talking tough about tinted permit, talking tough about the joint VIP escort and all those. No, look into the welfare of the police and change the police so that our police can be more efficient.
There you go. This Nigeria is next, Mr. Igboke, and this Nigeria, which we just took, forgive me. I really wanted to take a story on the front page of This Nigeria, and that's also about security. It's under the big picture. Ondo residents protest church kidnap, block major highway. Police rescue one victim, arrests suspect after attack. I just needed to highlight that story yet again. I guess that explains why I was stuck on This Nigeria. But it looks like this trend is not stopping, sadly, and something decisive must be done. But let's take a look at Vanguard newspaper. Vanguard newspaper is next, and it's leading with the fallout of politics in Edo State. Outrage greets gun attacks on Obi, Oyegun, others. So clearly this story isn't going away. We're looking to the police for the outcome of investigations regarding that. But Mr. Igboke, your thoughts on this?
I think we should be very careful. I don't know if I'll cast your mind back in what happened. I think that was 2007 election or 2003. I can't remember. Where high-level politicians were murdered. I remember Haridikibo. And we remember some of the politicians that were just assassinated that period. So I am afraid that the kind of languages we use, the kind of things we see, we just pray that 2027, does not portray that kind of, bloodshed. This is politics. This is our country. Eliminating or trying to harm the opposition is not where your strength should be. The strength should be in ability to persuade the electorate to vote for you, either through what you have done if you are the incumbent, or through solid promises you make to them if you are a contender or an aspirant. I think that it should be, the battle should be how to win the electorate, not how to harm your opponent or how to assassinate or eliminate your opponent. And we should not that kind of ancient or outdated politics should not be what we're importing in 2027. So also we need to also talk about. I need to talk about Mr. P2B. I strongly believe that Mr. P2B is very careless with the security. I mean, this is not even celebrities now who are supposed to mingle with the people and do all those things have very strong security around them. From watching Mr. P2B go around and the rest, there is to be simple is good, but also you are operating an environment of the jackals. If you are operating an environment of the jackals, you need to protect yourself from the wild animals. So what you need to do is to beef up his own security. Because this country, we have seen a lot happen, and the country moved on. I mean, we have seen a lot of things happen in this country. So I also call on Mr. P2B to beef up his own security very well. It's either he uses private security. If the state security is not being provided for, let him use private security. We have a lot of private security in Nigeria that bear arms too. So that is my advice and recommendation for him, especially as we are beginning to enter the heat of the election period. But for this to happen in the Edo State again, I think the governor should be concerned that if people cannot come to his state to have meetings, political meetings of the opposition parties, if they cannot come, if this is just meeting and they are doing it, what happens in the time of campaigns? So will opposition parties be allowed to campaign? I mean, this country belongs to all of us. The state belongs to Edo State. Is a state that has prided itself as a democratic institution with democratic structures dating back to 600 years. I mean, the Benin Kingdom. Right from then, 600 years ago, they have had structures of governance that worked for them over the years. So I don't think 600 years later, when we will have a smaller entity called the Edo State to manage, and things will be happening. I think the Edo citizens should be proud of their heritage and ancestry and be able to even build on that rather than tarnishing the image of that great, African ethnic group and African ancestral history. Edo State should not be heard over, the news from Edo should not be about this kind of thing. It should be about development, progress, and sophistication that we have known the Edo Kingdom for.
Okay, let's head to the Daily Independent newspaper. The big one has to do with the charge by the president to the new IGP. But let's go beneath that to some other economic related story. Why NRS, Nigeria Revenue Service, is eyeing 40.7 trillion naira revenue for 2026. That's according to Zach Adedeji, who is the boss of the NRS. And beneath that as well, that's a page 7 read. Oil probe, NAS reads riot act to Edun MDA heads. That's a page 6 read. So they are kind of related. And I want you to tie it to the complaints by ministries that releases were quite abysmal in their budget performance that is still operational, that we expect to end by March. And then relate that as well to the president, boasting about non-oil sector meeting his target last year. And then looking at what has happened with the MPC and some comments around the fact that government is looking inwards to borrow, as well as because there's no ways and means anymore. There is ways and means, but it's a bit more structured and way better managed under this CBN than it was under Emefiele. So I want you to tie all this together and give us your comment.
Well, Geoffrey, last month I think I was listening to Donald Trump when he was trying to explain that inflation in America is going down. And he was not using these esoteric languages of Bretton Woods institutions that our CBN governor, finance minister, and all these people use for us here. He was talking about goods and services. He was mentioning goods and services and saying that by next week, this product will drop to this amount of money. This product will drop to this amount of money. This is what he was saying. He was not talking about, that MSP had dropped 3 basic points, inflation rate is headline inflation. No, he was not talking about those esoteric terms. He was talking about the daily thing for the citizens, that when you go, you buy a fruit for this amount of money. When you go, you buy gasoline for this amount of money. When you go, that is how we measure inflation. That is how we measure the markets. But here in Nigeria, we just roll out indices, we roll out figures, and then we celebrate. Now, when you come down to what is happening in Nigeria, NRS is fixated on increasing tax, expanding tax net, looking for new ways to tax the citizen. And in the other end, which commensurately, there's nothing the government is giving to the people. They're always quick to quote tax rates in developed and advanced countries. Meanwhile, you are not doing the corresponding activities that they are doing. For example, there are things taken for granted in those advanced countries. The amenities are taken for granted because it's provided for the citizens. There are some social safety nets provided for the citizens. Here, we don't have any social safety nets. Any. We will provide our transport, we provide our security, we provide our water, we provide everything. So based on what are you really expanding the tax net? The welfare package that Nigerians will enjoy in terms of subsidy, you remove all of them. Meanwhile, these advanced countries enjoy subsidies also from their government. They enjoy subsidies in every sphere of their lives. So that when the government increase tax and have this taxation, there is a kind of cushion, economic cushion for the citizens. Here in Nigeria, we don't have any kind of that. And then we now see an NRS that is trying to just increase tax. So someone that once said that you cannot tax your citizens. A nation cannot tax a citizen to gain prosperity. You cannot. When the president talks about non-oil exports, when the president now talks about non-oil exports, what? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So talk about non-oil revenue. You should not be talking about taxing. Non-oil revenue should talk about, non-oil exports should be about industries, manufacturing sectors, other things that is making you make money other than the oil sector, not taxation. And that is where this government is modeling things up. I'm all just deliberately trying to pull the wool over our eyes. How have you revamped the manufacturing sector? What has happened to our textile factories? What is happening to our steel plants? What is happening to our automotive plants? What is happening to all these factories and industries that have closed shop? That have, so that many Nigerians can be employed, so that company taxes can come in, so that other things can come in. But we keep on closing industries, we keep on closing factories, and then keep on taxing people. Again, I repeat, as I always do, that is voodoo economics. That is not an economics that makes any sense to the citizens and to any country who is seeking genuine prosperity.
Well, speaking of economics, I believe we still have a bit more time to expand the conversation, and I wonder if you captured it in your last commentary, that portion of the story that is under the big picture on the front page of Daily Independent. Oil probe, NAS reads riot act to Edun, Minister of Finance, MDA heads. And so we saw this, quite a number of activities as far as the oil sector probe is concerned, especially from the National Assembly. We even saw a committee, visit the creeks as part of its continued probe of, oil subsidy funds and all of that. What should we be expecting from this round of probe?
Nothing. I repeat, nothing. We have seen this kind of shenanigans over the years. Oil probe, even the turnaround maintenance of the refineries, all kinds of malfeasance happening in the sector. They will institute probe. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody gets arrested. Nobody is prosecuted to the end. It all fizzles out. Reports gather dust in the cupboards of wherever it was submitted to. So nothing will happen. I'm not expecting anything. We are what we are. They do this, they close shop, another government will come, they will do another probe, this one will do their own and go. I mean, there's nothing to expect. If Nigerians truly think they will expect anything from this probe, then Nigerians have not learned from history. This is not going to go anywhere. They will just do the legwork, write reports, and then how many NNPC past GMDs have been prosecuted for malfeasance, or petroleum ministers and all those things? This is just the normal media hype, media show, and then everybody goes to sleep. Nothing happens. Sorry, Bookie, nothing is going to happen.
So maybe let's stay with the Daily Independent for a bit on this particular story. There are some stories on the right side of that particular picture where you see the president decorating the new acting Inspector General of Police. But let's begin with the very first one, talking about that Benin attack, where this is credited to the ADC, saying APC proven to be a terrorist organization. I'm sure you know where that is coming from statements that were made previously. But beyond that, still on that page 6, gunmen attack church in Ondo, abduct 6 worshippers. The disturbing trend around Ondo and Kwara is very concerning. What do you make of it, Mr. Bouquet?
I want to juxtapose this with the recent reports we are seeing from Associated Press about accusing the government of paying some amount of billions to terrorists to release the abducted teachers and pupils of St. Mary's Catholic School in somewhere in Niger State. If we tie these two together and then we start having these reports, escalated abductions, and then one can start asking some basic questions. Where are people when 250 something girls children are abducted? Those questions were asked in the first massive abduction when Chibok girls entered. Somebody was asking, when Chibok girls were there how do you move 250 something people without noticing, and without security agencies noticing it, without raising eyebrows? So these are some of the questions that defy logic, that defy processing, because it cannot be explained. So these things are done there to see that, is it to spite the United States to say, oh, why are you interfering? So I don't know. I think we should be more preventive although I also understand the difficulty, knowing that some of these things are asymmetric warfare, where soft targets, are made, because it's not linear. You don't know your enemy fighting. But again, I think we should beef up security in many areas. Where this is now, the theater of war, of the absurdity, is Kwara State and Ondo State. Benue is still having its own fair share. Why are we not beefed up securities even around the perimeter of the boundaries into these states? That still baffles me. Why don't we cordon off these places to even ensure that nobody enters and nobody goes out? Most of the time when these kidnappings happen, the people are taken to the forest, within or without. Most of the time without, they take them across borders and the rest. Why have we not cordoned off the border? Why do security agencies reveal the tactics they want to do? We are deploying troops to Kwara. Why do we need to do that?
Yeah.
Why do we need to take this out? So it is. I don't know why these things are happening. Nigeria has the capacity to decimate these people. Why it's not happening, honestly, is the reason I don't know.
All right. Many more questions arising from these stories than answers, but we are hopeful perpetually that resolutions will come through. We must anchor at this point, and thank you very much, Mr. Andrew Bouquet, for coming on the newspaper review segment. He is the head Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria, Enugu State Chapter. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me on the show this morning.
We'll take a moment now. When we return, we'll begin by scrutinizing the economy, specifically the achievements of the economy of the administration against the backdrop of our current realities. So stay with us for our next conversation. We'll be right back.